Well, we're following some major medical news today that could impact more than 1 million Americans living with or previously diagnosed with the deadliest form of skin cancer. Two pharmaceutical giants announcing today promising results from an experimental vaccine to treat melanoma. Now, according to Merck and Moderna, a combination of the vaccine and medication appeared to stop the cancer from returning or spreading in high-risk patients. NBC News health reporter Aria Bendix joining us now to talk about this potential breakthrough. So Merck and Moderna have not published their results yet. What do we know about the experimental vaccine, Aria, and how it works?
Right. So this vaccine is about a decade in the making. And what's really novel and exciting about it is that it's a personalized cancer vaccine. So it can actually be customized to each patient based on the genetic material of their individual tumors. So in this case, the vaccine is able to identify these abnormal proteins that sit on the surface of the cancer cells, and then it trains the immune system actually to kill those cells. But as you mentioned, this trial wasn't just looking at the vaccine, it was looking at this combination of the vaccine with Keytruda, which is a drug commonly used to treat melanoma.
Sure.
And it's really that combination that seems to show an advantage over Keytruda on its own at preventing the spread or recurrence of cancer. And I should note in this trial, there were about more than 1,000 patients. They had advanced stage melanoma. So this was a group that was already at a high risk of their cancer coming back.
Very promising results. Do we have any sense of a timeline for when this could be available?
So Moderna and Merck have shared their data with the FDA, or are sharing it now. Assuming everything looks good, the next step would then be to apply for approval of the vaccine. And the FDA, importantly, has already agreed to fast track its review. So the companies are somewhat optimistic that this vaccine could hit the market as soon as next year. Of course, we have to manage expectations because the data has not been published yet. FDA hasn't weighed in. But for right now, this is a really promising sign for a lot of patients with melanoma.
And I'm fascinated by the customizable aspect of this. Is that part of the mRNA delivery system, or how does that work exactly?
That is part of the benefit of mRNA technology. And it was really mRNA research sort of started with this idea that it might be beneficial for cancer patients. So we're really seeing the culmination of decades of research here. And we're already seeing the recent approval of a mRNA vaccine for flu. So really a lot of momentum in this space, even though we saw cuts to mRNA research last year.
True. Good point. And of course, this all started with the COVID vaccine, and mRNA now is being seen through all these different sorts of medications and vaccines. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Aria.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.